Hello and welcome, everyone. The Pantsless Podcast. We back after an extended period of time, and we have a brand new combo of three people here that has never been. This combo has never been on air. Just this combo, I think. Right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless we're all insane.
Yeah. I mean, I know Nate's been here a
Possible.
couple times, but and Trev's always here, and then I'm here. But North and Joe are doing other stuff, so they're not here.
They're doing
Nothing
their
like-
own rival podcast. The
Yeah, I mean
Pants On
nothing,
podcast.
nothing crazy. Like North actually has like people over that are sleeping in his living room, so he can't be here. And Joe is assembling his bed and shelves that he bought for his new house.
Nice.
So this is the gang right now for the next 2 hours. How you doing, dudes?
Good. I woke up 3 hours ago. My sleep schedule has been abysmal.
Nice.
Nice,
Because
nice.
I'm a college student in summer. So, like, especially when you're a nerd and a college student in summer, your sleep schedule will sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll just wake up at 6 p.m. and it'll be 6 p.m. and I'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
I feel you. I've been on the road a lot in a lot of different time zones, so I can feel the pain of waking up and the time being not what you expect it to be a lot.
And I just normally wake up super late because my work is super late.
That is
That's,
normal for
yeah.
people.
Mhm.
Some people.
Yeah.
It's weird to think that, but yeah.
Yeah. Despite like health experts saying that, we're not nocturnal people. Like people are not nocturnal. So you shouldn't, stay awake at night. And I don't know, there's like a shitload of research been done, like people who do night work primarily die like earlier than the rest of the people. And so
I think it's the
So-
changing shifts is what's roughest on people. People that have to do like 4 months of one shift and then another, and then I think that's what's the hardest on individuals because it takes a while for your body to adjust.
I mean I've had weeks where I
Mhm.
change 2 or 3 times within a week my entire sleep cycle. That's rough. It sucks, and it doesn't like completely like fucks me up. And even if I go from night shifts and directly to morning shifts after like 2 days off, I'm out of it for at least a week before I like feel normal again.
Gosh. Well, as long as you're making that moolah,
Yeah.
you better have a vault full of money if that's the case.
I mean the compensation is good. Don't worry about that. But this is definitely like I've been slowly itching towards the idea of maybe within like 5 years not do this anymore, because it is getting increasingly more difficult for me to deal with the tiredness, basically.
Yeah.
Just get a 5-hour energy drink and then drink it every 5 hours, and then there you go.
No,
You can work day and night shift
yeah. Stay awake forever.
forever. Never die.
Exactly.
What does
Anyway.
the saying go? You can sleep when you're dead.
Exactly. That's why you die earlier.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway, I forgot to ask this before we went live, so I'm gonna ask it now. I want to talk about Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, the Netflix show. Can I go full spoiler mode? Does anyone care?
I don't think anyone cares. Like, honestly, I read the reviews, and that's all my exposure with it, and I've heard it is decent at best, which is probably coming from people that like Resident Evil. And coming from a person who's only played all the way through 5, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Not 5 individual games, just the game 5.
Your game 5.
I'm gonna do the courtesy for chat though. I don't get to use this a lot, but Boom. Spoiler alert. Right there in the middle of the stream. Yeah. So I watched Infinite Darkness. Is that the real name, or was it something else? Because I've already like forgotten. It is so unmemorable.
They always change their names.
Yeah, no, I think the Netflix was Infinite Darkness, right?
Hopefully I spelled Infinite Darkness correct. Probably not.
Fine.
Yeah, Infinite Darkness. Yeah.
Nice. Infinite Darkness is a shit show. It's ungodly boring. Like it. It's only 4 episodes, which is the only reason I sat through the entire thing, because it is like watching a 1.5 hour movie basically, because the eps are like 20 minutes. My God, it's bad. It's so boring and so unnecessary. Like, it has those glimpses where it's like action, where you can completely like take the plot away and the characters away and just look at cool action. It has a couple of those moments. But immediately when someone starts speaking, my head explodes. Cause everything is shit.
Is it just like lore dumps? It's like inch of action and then like here's the lore dump of that goes on for 10 minutes.
They have a lot of exposition, and one thing that they have, what I really dislike in all media, kind of collectively, is that they have flashbacks. There is a time and a place for flashbacks. I don't inherently hate them, but they have like every episode has flashbacks, and sometimes the flashbacks have flashbacks.
Yeah, it's like Naruto.
and sometimes they have like, you see a flashback of something happening, and then the next episode you see the same flashback from another person's perspective, and it's like you could have like condensed this to a 1 sentence and done something more like concrete with what you have. They have like this entire universe of video games with tons of lore. Granted, most of it is bonkers and stupid, but they use none of it. Fucking none of it.
Oh.
Like, I don't think I don't think that they even mention Umbrella a single time in those 4 episodes. Like, they mention Raccoon City maybe like twice. And the context of why they reference Raccoon City is because they have like a zombie outbreak. So everything that happens in Infinite Darkness, first of all, is after Raccoon City. Like, timeline-wise. Yeah. So there's like zombies, and then they're like, this is like Raccoon City all those years ago. And that's it. So if you don't know what Raccoon City is, it makes no sense. Which, again, like, if you're watching a Resident Evil thing, I can understand that they put stuff in there that, you know, they kind of expect you to know. Because I read a review before I watched it, and in the review it said you kind of have to have played the games to understand all the things in the show. And I'm like, okay, so they're gonna like bring in a bunch of lore, you know, characters, whatever. They bring 2 characters, Claire and Leon, from RE2, and that's it. They mention Raccoon City like twice or 3 times, and they mention never Umbrella, and then they just fucking go. You know, they have zombies, which everyone understands what that is. It's mind-bogglingly like stupid.
See, I would have thought it would have been the exact opposite.
Like, yeah. I did see a review where somebody said something like everything that happened in the show left them wondering like why did they do that? Like, literally everything. They're like, every piece of dialogue, every scene, every single choice that any director made, I was just left going, why? Which,
yeah, I mean,
that alone was like, yeah,
because like Leon is the main character in the show. They have Claire in some of the scenes, but she's basically like forgotten. She shows up in the last episode. Like, and then they put her in that damsel in distress kind of situation, which I absolutely hated, because Claire is not a bitch. You know, she can handle herself, and she gets like caught this easy, like instantly. Like, and then the big bad, which is the and this is the more spoiler, the big bad is the US government. It's not Umbrella, it's the US government. And specifically like the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Defense, like it's the military branch, basically. And they're doing these experiments on these people to create super soldiers. And they kidnap Claire for some, she was snooping around, I guess. And then they tie her up in a chair, and then it's like, I got you, and now you're gonna die. And then they never kill her. Like, it's like, oh my god.
It's like old Batman or something.
Yeah. So does it just, like, do they just pretty much rescue her and then it ends, and then that's the end?
Well, so Claire kind of saves herself. Thank you for doing that, first of all. Because Leon is battling the big bad at the end, the tyrant. The
entire U.S. government.
Well, so there's this dude who was a U.S. soldier, and this is another thing that I don't appreciate the show doing. So these U.S. soldiers, they were in the Middle East fighting, whatever war, and zombies happen, and then a bunch of people get bit, but then they magically just Deus Ex Machina this syringe thing. Like, take this antidote and you will not turn into a zombie. Like, okay. And then they just have to keep taking that antidote, like, on regular intervals for not turning into a zombie. Never in Resident Evil has there been an antidote that can stop people from turning into zombies. And here they just introduce it, and the US government just has tons of it. Like, because they knew that people will get bit. Where was it developed? Who knows? Who cares? Like, who gets it? Who knows? Who cares? And then these people who were soldiers, they obviously get mad at the U.S. government, and they're like, "We're gonna plot our revenge." And then they got hired as Secret Service members for the president of all people, but they're secretly plotting to overthrow the government or whatever. And then Leon shoots one of the guys in like episode 2 or 3. Who cares? And then I'm like, okay, he dead. Like, he got shot in the chest. And then at the final episode, he just pops out, like, in that secret underground lab somewhere where Claire is kept. And the head honcho government dude is like, oh, we're gonna kill all. He just comes out of nowhere. How did he get here? No one cares. No one knows. And then he's like, I'm not gonna take the antidote anymore. And then he transforms like into this tyrant. Not a regular zombie. He transforms into tyrant. Why? No one knows. Maybe he just had too much rage.
It sounds like a drug trip. Like
it's not even. It's just stupid. It's just so stupid. Because then he starts like talking to. Like, when he transforms, he still has his consciousness. So he's talking to Leon. Leon is like, I'm gonna stop you. And he's like, no, I'm gonna show myself to the world because that creates fear. And then the people will turn on the US government because they're creating these horrible monsters deep underground. And then Leon is still like, I'm gonna stop you. They're trying to push this, like, morally gray area on this antagonist for, like, his life got fucked, and now he wants revenge, and in his eyes he didn't do anything wrong, and now he wants to expose himself to everyone, so people are like, oh my god, we're like unethical experiments on people, and stop doing that, government. And then Leon just kills him. And that's it. That's Resident Evil Infinite Darkness in a nutshell.
Like, the cogs were not turning at anything you just said, but it's coming from somebody who has not watched the show, but also probably would not change.
2 things that are easy to comprehend, though. The animation, when I saw the trailers, it looked very beautiful. Now, when you watch it, it is very, very clear where they put the budget. All the environments and stuff look very good, but then when it's people, that's when it's Uncanny Valley. But not Claire and Leon, but everyone else. Like, the president, for instance, has, like, multiple scenes, and he looks kind of not human. And the second thing is that everyone who died, like, extremely abruptly. Like, they could be, like, characters talking to each other, and there's no indication that either one is gonna die. But then, 5 seconds happens, and then the other one is just dead. And it felt like they're they had no like, because the deaths had no impact whatsoever, and like on an emotional level, they just, you know, someone's neck got snapped. It's like, whatever, let's move on. It felt like they wanted to have like, you know, meaningful deaths in the show, but the characters that died cannot be Claire and Leon, and everyone else is a Randy. So who gives a shit? You have the characters that they like introduced and like they built up, but it's still, you were talking about a show that's 4 episodes. It's short, and whatever character you're gonna introduce, it is so difficult to care for them.
Yeah.
Like even with because even the main bad guy who was the soldier, they showed his backflash scene at least 3 or 4 times from like different perspectives. So instead of building him more up, they showed the same thing again and again, which builds zero character, especially when like half of the flashbacks are like firefights. Oh no. I don't know what kind of crack they smoked, but
So this review says the movie felt like a good animation studio was handed a stack of cash, and then they asked the pizza guy to write the script.
I mean,
Which,
I mean, pretty much.
not wrong.
Yeah, honestly, like, I don't understand. They have this entire, like, library of RE stuff just ready to be used, and nothing was used. Just Claire and Leon.
This kind of sounds like that season of Arrested Development that I think it was the one that was straight to Netflix, where it was like the whole season was the same story, but each episode was like from a different person's perspective. And it is easily the worst. I don't know if anybody's a fan of Arrested Development. The show is fantastic, but it's easily the worst season because it's like, exactly like you said, like, all right, we've already seen this. I feel like you're not adding that much. I mean, it was, I got to give them credit, props for trying something different because, the show had reached a point anyways. But it was like, you're not giving me any more new information. I'm not interested. I already know what's about to happen. It kind of fell flat. That kind of feels.
The only thing I can think of as to why they didn't use that like vault of Resident Evil stuff is to maybe because it's on Netflix, they're like, maybe we wouldn't get as much people into it if it's all just Resident Evil lore, because again, Resident Evil lore is complex. And, if you explain one thing, it's kind of hard to explain, the entirety of it in 4 episodes if somebody hadn't played the game. So maybe they were trying to like make it easier to digest by not using that stuff, but like that's the only reason I can think of. And again, it's not defending them at all. It's I wouldn't enjoy it if they didn't do that. Or
yeah,
it still sounds like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't understand, like, because they could have used existing lore and just not explored all of it. Because you can have RE1 and not think about any other subsequent game, and it's a complete story. I'm not saying they should have made like RE1 into a Netflix show, but the same kind of have a self-contained story. Much like, RE7 is a self-contained story, and then 8 like expands a lot on that. But 7 is a very self-contained story. It has very little connection to any prior game. So in my mind, they could have made a Netflix show the same way. Have it completely self-contained, just attach it to the RE universe in like some way. But a game, I understand a game is also different because you have that gameplay element and you're playing, and a show you're just watching. Because I tried to remove the gameplay aspect from the video games, and what do we have left? We have a batshit insane lore-filled mess, basically. Because Resident Evil is, like you said, it's complex and it's been running for a long time, and they have crazy stuff going on. But I don't know. I think they could have made way more. I think they could have made like an apocalypse kind of event with Claire and Leon or any other fucking well-known character. I think they could have at least utilized zombies more, because there's hardly any fucking zombies in the show. because so much is devoted to those flashbacks and just talking to people. And then okay, the final episode is just a boss battle. I don't know.
Well, aren't they making a movie too? We'll see. We'll see.
Oh yeah, a live action.
Yeah.
Movie. Rebooting the movie
that'll
series.
be better.
At least like
I wish.
At least with the Paul W.S. Anderson film series, like the first Ari movie, with all its flaws, it's still very distinctly Resident Evil. It follows like the first game very closely, like, and at the same time not really following it. But they in like video game movies back then, at least, they were all shit. So to actually have a video game movie where the director actually understood what the source material was and pulled a lot of that source material into his movie makes, in my opinion at least, the first Resident Evil movie a very competent video game movie.
I just wish like these CG movies. Like when I saw it was gonna be CG, I was like, "Yep, there you go." There's my expectations just went in the toilet. But like, I feel like nobody like the one I'm thinking of in my head is the one that they had that released with Final Fantasy 15. I watched that movie. It's abysmal. Like it's fun to watch if you've played Final Fantasy 15, but like it's not a good movie. But like they can. I feel like somebody will do it good eventually. It's just like every time it happens, it's so bad, and then it's like, all right, because all the ones before it failed. It's like here, now you gotta wait 17 years before they want to try it again.
Forward Unto Dawn, the Halo animated series was pretty good.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I thought they did a decent job with it, setting it up, and I mean it followed the books pretty well if you read the book. I was disappointed that they stopped. I thought they were going to do all of them, and they just did the one, and it didn't really get. I don't think it got great reviews, but I don't know why. But that's the only one. Kingslave movie.
That CG, that's the Final Fantasy 15 movie.
Yeah.
The I think the CG just might not appeal to people. So even if something's like good, like it just like like
yeah,
like what Illumination's doing that Mario movie, the people that made Minions. We'll see how that does. Because
can't be any worse than the Mario TV show.
Oh yeah.
For those.
Yeah, I guess it's like because you have like Japanese anime, which has its place in the market, but it's also very distinct like Japanese anime. Like if you watch like an anime show, you kind of like know okay, this is Japanese anime, because the style is so distinct with those. Even if they have like different styles of animation, but like a pure CGI movie, I feel is, like you said, like Trevor, that I don't think it appeals to people either, because they're striving for that realism. Then why not use real people then?
Yeah,
because it's still not there. Like, because Final Fantasy, funny enough, tried this way back in the day with Spirits Within, the movie that has absolutely nothing to do with Final Fantasy. They made a CGI character, and they wanted that CGI character to be an actual human. So they wanted to market her, that CGI character, to other movies. So she had a name in the movie, which was something, and then the character itself had a real name. It's weird. They made like a digital
almost
character.
like a vlogger.
What?
Like a fake actor?
Yeah, they made a digital character that was supposed to be in multiple movies. The point was to replace real humans.
Yes,
and they touted her as a real movie star. I mean, she was on the cover magazine like of some like softcore porn webs like magazine at the time too. Not softcore porn, but it was some.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, now you say I do remember that. I was gonna look it up here because when you were saying that, I totally forgot that that was like they thought that was gonna be the future, right? That you would have kind of like how vloggers are now, but they would cast that fake person as the real person in a movie, and they would just they even talked about doing him like alongside real life actors too.
Damn, I can't. Here's the image.
It was
It was on Maxim Hot 100. So Maxim actually put a fake character, like a digital character, on the cover of their Hot 100 issue. And this was, so her like quote unquote real name is Aki Ross, and the point was for her to
Dr.
replace
Aki
like
Ross.
real humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
That went through so many board meetings, and every
yeah.
time it passed, they were like, "Yes, this sounds amazing," and
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds so like bizarre to me. I've never heard of this. This is
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, this is fucking
It's
ages
even-
ago.
oh yeah, because
It's
I
even
was
funnier.
1 year old. I was a year old
Yeah.
when this happened.
Her birthday is listed as, so her age is listed as 27, but her birthday is October 7th, 2038. So I guess she's just always supposed to be 27, but she was born in the
Probably.
future. But yeah, she was intended to be the world's first computer-generated virtual actress.
Yeah, that's
Is,
crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I mean, now that you're bringing it up, I totally remember at the time. I had completely forgot that was supposed to be a thing.
The Final Fantasy movie doesn't, or the Resident Evil show doesn't sound that bad now. You know.
Oh yeah, the Final Fantasy movie is probably, I've seen it once when I was a kid and I hated it back then even. I probably would hate it more now. It had, because I wanted to watch it because it had Final Fantasy on it. Because I was so into Final Fantasy when I was a kid. But it has absolutely nothing to do with Final Fantasy. Nothing. It's a complete trash movie.
I mean, yeah, they probably had to stick Final Fantasy on it so people would watch it.
Oh yeah, most likely.
Yeah, because otherwise
that's
sure.
exactly what
insane.
happened. Because in that same fucking board meeting, they're like, "This is fucking trash. What do we do to sell this shit? We've already dumped millions of dollars into this crap, so we gotta sell it." And then it's a fucking slap Final Fantasy on it. People will eat that up.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like if you were to cast Siri or Alexa in a movie today, if she had a real body, and like maybe not even be more insane, because this at least that one had a real voice actress, like there was a real person behind the voice. But still, just the thought of it is, I say it's insane, but it's only a matter of time before. I mean, we have like a Cortana, we have don't you do it, Windows? I thought it might try to do something crazy. We have a body figure for it, but it's I don't know. It's only a matter of time where we probably do end up seeing something like that.
I mean,
Yeah,
Dust
I'm
said
not
it's a
ready.
joke in the chat, but Hatsune Miku does exist in Japan. The virtual artist,
Oh yeah.
music person that doesn't even have like a real voice or anything. It's just kind of like computer sound clips that sound like words. I don't understand it, but I mean, it is wild how big she is in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
She makes more money than probably most artists in Japan.
Is her own freaking expo. I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not okay with this.
I'm just not okay with this.
It is insane. Like if you look up the concerts, it's just like an empty stage, and then they'll hologram her on stage, and then it pans out to the audience, and it's like 2 million people. Just everyone has a little a little shaker, like glow light shaker, and they're jamming, and it's insane. I think there was one story about some dude who spent like over $1 million marrying her. I think it's crazy.
Wait, to marry her?
Yeah, that was, oh gosh, when did this happen? I want to say like 2 years ago, because me and my buddies were like making fun of it. It was some dude who like spent a bunch of money to have Hatsune Miku like have a wedding with her. Like it was, I'm not gonna act like I understand it. I'm not gonna hate people for liking it, but it's weird. liking the music is the tip of the iceberg, and then from that point,
It just
it's
gets
like,
more insane.
yeah, liking the music's like, all
Um,
right, I get it. The music musically sounds pretty good. Like other than the singing, I don't like, but like you got some good composers behind that, and then you go down the iceberg, and then you're like, you get to the bottom, and you're like, what in the world am I witnessing? But
Because I mean, we've
He's-
had like virtual bands for years. Like Gorillaz is a virtual band, and
Yeah.
Death Clock is a virtual band. But I mean, when I say I'm not okay with this, it's when my head gets to that place where when you personify a digital creation and you treat it as a real human. Like when you say I love Hatsune Miku, it is not a person. It is a digital construct that does not exist. You are loving nothing. And when I'm gonna marry this virtual character, you're fucking insane. Like, please get a real person to marry.
yeah, no,
And
that's wild.
and this
There's a
like
video
this is
that
where
way.
I don't understand anymore. My like, I'm all like for acceptance and whatnot, but there exists reality and everything else, and I like to live in
Yeah.
reality.
I didn't know she was on David Letterman.
Actually, wait.
Yeah, this article is from 2014, but she opened for Lady Gaga. She said she collaborated with Farrell, and I guess back in 2014, she was on the David Letterman show.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. Is she still around? Like this is kind of old. I haven't really heard anything about it in a while, but I mean, I would assume.
Oh, I doubt. Yeah, she's definitely. She also had a. They had a Domino's ad with her, where like Domino's in Japan had a part that one's crazy too. But like, yeah, she is everywhere. Like she's definitely still around. Just not in our not in our wheelhouse, so we don't hear about it too often unless something wild happens.
Surprised they
Just
didn't try
like-
to sell her as an NFT.
Because let's not forget, Hatsune Miku is a 16-year-old girl.
Right. Yeah. There's also that part too.
Yeah, let that sink in. Listen here, pedophiles, calm down. You know.
Oh.
And
my
look, like
God.
I'm not against the virtual artist aspect of it or the
Yeah.
music or whatever. That's what fine. Like, because someone's making money probably, obviously, and
Oh, for sure.
and I have nothing against that. But when it gets to that creep level, about marrying, and I love this thing, and please, for the love of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely taken it quite a few steps too far.
Yeah, I'm old and I don't understand anymore. I don't understand these kids.
I'm a kid and I don't understand it.
Thank
So-
God.
Oh gosh.
But I'm gonna circle back to Resident Evil: Infinite Darkness. Props to Capcom for hiring the same voice actors that voiced Claire and Leon in the game.
Yeah.
That was real cool. Other than that, don't watch it. It's a complete waste of time. The flip side of the coin is I watched the season 1 of Loki, and it was so good that it has actually like revitalized my interest in Marvel as a whole.
I haven't
do
seen
recommend.
it. I'm not a big superhero guy.
I need to watch it. My buddy that was staying with us, that has the PS5, he watched it and he said the same. He said it was pretty good. But I need, it's definitely on my list it's on my radar, and it looks good. But I have not had a chance to watch it yet.
It is.
TV
it
shows
is really
are
good.
the future.
Yeah,
With it feels like at
Streaming.
least, because
streaming TV shows.
that too. Well, like they probably make so much. I'm not gonna act like I know how this works either, but just having somebody come to your platform to watch more content than like a movie, and it's probably just as expensive to make. It seems like a good trade-off.
And Disney's gonna have a Marvel or Star Wars something. Easy there, camera. Live all the time. Like that's their plan, so that they're trying to avoid that whole HBO Game of Thrones where they had 3 million subscribers when Game of Thrones seasons, new subscribers when the season started, and they all drop when the season's over. They end up hanging on to a lot of those, but I think they're trying to avoid that, especially with Disney, where they had a pretty good strategy out the gate where they're like, we're just going to pretty much give Disney Plus away to anybody. Oh, you have a Verizon cell phone. Oh, you have AT&T internet. Oh, you have Hulu. Oh, you can breathe. Here's Disney Plus for free for 6 months, and just don't forget to cancel. So I think at one point we had like 5 different service things that we pay for that included Disney Plus in it. Like, it's a little insane. We still have like 2 or 3 of them that it's still including in it, and I kind of have to keep track so I'm not paying for it multiple times or something. But that's their plan, to have a new Marvel show or a new Star Wars show or movie or something on the streaming platform. So this Loki was that one. They're going to be having the they were going to make that originally they were going to make the Star Wars movie with Boba Fett, and then that turned into, after the young Han Solo didn't do so great, it turned into like a bad guys Marvel or Star Wars movie, and then now I think they're turning into a show. But the show works out better for streaming platforms because you can release them every week, and you can keep you can drag it out much easier than you can a movie. Yeah, I mean, they've been putting out good stuff. I mean, I can't complain too much.
At this point,
Kind of on off topic. Do they have any like Marvel rides at Disney World? I can't think of any. Like
shows, like attractions. I don't know about specific rides.
It's so big to me, but every time I hear about like Disney World, because I'm in like next month I'm going to Disney World for like a weekend. And like that's all my girlfriend's been talking about. But like she hasn't mentioned anything Marvel. And like just from like it seems like the tippy top of like merchandise to me. Like I just
Star
never heard
Wars
of
is
anything.
Star Wars is still their biggest one, but
they
know
they just got that Star Wars thing though. I did hear about that, but
like I'm at this point, like Marvel has been doing Marvel stuff for over a decade. I feel like if you're not part of Marvel now, you're never going to be part of Marvel because there's so much content to like digest and so much stuff to like catch up. And you can argue that you can go to like phase 4 is what now started with WandaVision and Loki and Black Widow. You can probably start from phase 4 and because they start quote unquote fresh. But it feels because they connect those movies and shows so tightly together, like skipping something you're skipping like relevant content that will be brought up like later. Characters and happenings and side quests, and then you have no idea what's happening anymore. WandaVision is kind of like in the middle, because I do think you can watch WandaVision just on its own. It ties it into the overall universe, but it's so unique in my mind that I think you can watch it without anything.
Black Widow was like that too. It was you could definitely just watch it and not watch, not the after credit scene, which I won't spoil anything, but the after credit scene makes more sense. But even that, you're like, you have to know a very small amount about Marvel to get to know where it's headed.
But I feel like if Trevor's just not interested in Marvel or like. There's no reason to
Yeah.
watch like one movie or one show.
Yeah. I'll do it like I think the last Marvel movie I watched was Infinity War, and it was because like a group of my guys went. But like I was not like, okay, I want to go see Endgame now because in my head those movies are like, well, I know, it's usually formula like good guy, interesting plot, bad guy, boom, good guy win. And then so that's why Infinity War broke the internet, is because that didn't happen. I was like, well, they're making a part 2. I wonder what's gonna happen. But like and I don't bash anybody for liking those. It's just like I have never been able to get into it. I think the last superhero movie I really liked was Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse was
Oh,
really
Into the
good.
Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that movie.
Talk about an animated movie where they
Going
did it
back to that.
right.
Uh,
Yeah.
that was a sick movie, but half because animated movie. I was less. I guess I was less interested in the plot, even though the plot was fine in that movie. It's just like that movie was just beautiful for my eyes.
Mhm. It's a
It
good
is
movie
also a
all
very
around,
self-contained movie that you can totally watch without watching anything else.
for sure. It is a beautiful movie. The soundtrack is amazing. The voice acting is amazing. The dialogue is amazing. The story is a kid's story, so it's not super complex, but it's still, to me, I think, engaging enough that yeah, it's arguably, I mean, it's definitely the best animated thing that DC's kind of owned that realm of as far as superhero movies go. DC animated series are, a lot of those are absolutely amazing. Like DC movies are terrible, their animated movies are amazing, and then Marvel's, historically been kind of the opposite. But yeah, Into the Spider-Verse is fantastic.
Yes.
All right.
I was gonna say, Tom, you mentioned the Marvel movies. You don't have, don't watch any of them or whatever. If anybody did ever want to watch just one though, in my opinion, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, is easily self-contained, and while it does have a broader impact on it, you can watch it. It is one of the most, when I watched it, people said, "What are your opinions?" It's the, to me, it's the best comic book movie that felt like I watched a comic book movie that I've seen probably ever. It just felt. I mean, a lot of people don't know Guardians of the Galaxy. They did such justice to those characters, and to me it made it really excited. And then it's one of those movies that it doesn't matter if you're a diehard fan, you love it, and if you know absolutely nothing about it, it's just a fun action movie that, again, has good dialogue, is visually stunning, amazing soundtrack. Like yeah, those, to me, those are probably the top two Marvel movies, I honestly think, um, that can stand on their own, and you can watch them without seeing anything else Marvel, and be totally fine.
Yeah, credit to James Gunn, who directed
Mhm.
Guardians. I knew James Gunn from way earlier, before he was part of Marvel. He did a web series called PG Porn, where he cast real porn stars in these skits where it really feels like you're watching porn, and then something horrible happens instead.
I'm down for that. Yeah, screw
That's
Marvel. That's the cinematic universe I want.
that's why it's called
Uh,
PG porn.
yeah, it's entertaining.
Oh yeah, they're funny episodes, or funny like
Mm.
short skits. Anyway, what else happened?
Has
I don't know.
oh
It's kind of been slow, even though we haven't been back for a month.
Oops, that's the wrong button. I saw this thing. Ghostwire Tokyo has been delayed to 2022, and I didn't even know it was supposed to come out this year. So that felt like meh. Ghostwire Tokyo is developed by Tango Games, who made Evil Within 1 and 2.
Didn't that get announced at like E3 2019? I
Yeah,
think
we had that
2018.
uh Ikumi Nakamura, I guess her name is, who was
Oh
on
yeah, the one
stage.
everyone loves.
Yeah, she doesn't work for Tango Games anymore. Uh,
Not buying the game.
yeah, she quit. There was like I saw a I might have mentioned this on the podcast actually, but I'll do it anyway again. There was a short documentary of her, and it was honestly one of the most interesting documentaries I've seen just because of how it was shot and done. It was this dude who was just following her, and I don't think they ever showed her face, and they had like a separate audio track where she was like talking, and she was just discussing game development and her own interests and kind of her own philosophy of video games but what you saw was basically her just walking around in abandoned buildings taking photographs. It was really like the way it was just done and the music and everything. It was the most like just calming, serene kind of experience I've ever had in a documentary. I think it's available on YouTube, but I have no idea like what probably her name plus documentary would like result
Yeah,
in.
I watched it on YouTube, so I know it's on there.
Yeah, I know I've
Find
talked
it.
to some people about it.
Oh,
EA
it
was
doesn't
also
surprise
back
me
in the
that it got.
news.
Wait, EA?
Yeah, just in time when both Joe and me were kind of like giving EA more, we untightened the leash on them a little bit. Talked about like they haven't been doing anything horrible lately. Then they just snap back into regular EA, and it was announced that FIFA 2022, which is the upcoming FIFA game, will have one-time activation only per system. So if you buy it on PC and then you buy a new PC, you have to buy the game again. Because fuck you owning a video game.
That is absolutely insane. What if you just reinstall Windows?
Buy it again, nerd.
Yeah, I
Give me
assume
your
because
money.
I don't know if it's tied to the hardware or the Windows itself. But I mean, yeah, good question.
Well, Windows has a hardware key. That's how they, when you install. Um, but like your Windows hardware key can get corrupted, and I have had to contact Windows because it's like your shit's not valid anymore, and like I put a new hard drive in and not even installed my OS. They're like, oh yeah, your hardware key probably blah blah blah, and they give you a thing and it reactivates it, but it changes your hardware key. So if they were using that, you could potentially lose your license to a video game on the machine that you actually bought it on. I mean, obviously that may be a stretch, but it sounds like it's a possibility. And it's just. But I mean, do you think a lot of FIFA people play on PC? I would assume a vast majority of them are console.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
I don't know, but because like it seems like when it comes to sports games, PC games just are less optimized in general. Like as somebody who used to play sports games a bunch, I've played a few
Mhm.
on Windows, and it's like they are made for console, right? Because the I guess target audience, of the people who play FIFA play, soccer in real life. They don't play video games that often. They buy FIFA and then they play, their battle royale, and then that kind of sits them for a year. Uh, they don't have, $2,000 PCs, so it doesn't really
Right.
bother them.
It's still shit though.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
for
I'm
sure.
not defending
Yeah,
it at all.
no, because there's still obviously gonna be PC players that would like the FIFA games are actually fun, but I'm never gonna put money on one ever. Like, I'm sorry, I can't not buy Battlefield. I just even if I was like, I swear I'm not going to lock me in a room, my credit card would just crawl out of my wallet and go buy it anyways, because that's just how it works. But yeah, no, there's no way they could ever convince me to buy a sports game from them ever. I just don't. But they have the market. I mean, it's not like anybody else can make one.
Yeah,
So
the
if you
sports
want,
games usually get licensed to one company, like 2K with NBA and then FIFA with EA, and then they just stay in their own realm. They can do whatever they want, and if you want to play basketball, well, here's your one option.
yeah, pretty much.
Try to find Steam charts probably better. FIFA 2021.
Isn't it on
excuse
EA
me?
Play though too? So I guess that would be
Because
split.
like Steam DB has FIFA on their website, and it says 20,000 players in game. But I don't know if this tracks just Steam or everything. I don't know who runs this site.
I could believe it being Steam because again, FIFA is like probably one of the biggest, selling video game things just in general, just for how big soccer is, especially in like Europe.
Oh
I could believe 20,000 people would be on PC, and then close to.
I found it on Steam charts too, which only tracks Steam players, and it has like 20,000 players right now. All time peak 43,000.
Yeah, which I could believe is like way higher on console, like 110%.
Oh yeah, and obviously this is just like concurrent players, so it doesn't mean everyone who purchased it.
Yeah.
But still, we're talking about tens of thousands of people who buy these games on Steam, and fucking buy a new PC and you get shafted.
But how does that work with Steam? Because how can they remove your Steam? Like, if you buy it, that's the whole thing with Steam, is you have it in your Steam library.
You have to connect your EA Play account. So when you launch it on Steam, it launches EA Play.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I didn't know that. But just so it's kind of like what? Yeah, it's so stupid. But I guess I get it. So then they would. And EA Play is such a wonderful piece of software. That'll work flawlessly. God damn.
I love Knockout City, but like I hate opening it. Like I cannot. Like sometimes it just breaks, and then I can't open it just because the
it breaks very easily. From like the random stuff too. Like, because for me, it's like if I close the software just by clicking the little X, it still runs in the background. I cannot open it up again. It does not open.
Yeah.
I have to physically terminate the process and then open it again.
I guess it's just like how Xbox Game Pass works with EA Play. It doo-doos all the time. The amount of times I've opened Control Panel and just shut down the Xbox service and shut down EA Play, and then been like, please work, and then it still doesn't work, and then you have to restart your computer, and then you're like, please work.
Yeah, I mean, if I play Knockout, I don't even do it through the Game Pass anymore. I open EA Play separately and launch Knockout City from that.
Oh, I didn't know it was part of Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, everyone who has Game Pass on PC gets EA Play for no additional charge.
Yeah, but EA Play doesn't. Not all games that come are part of it. Like It Takes Two wasn't part of it. Like even if you had Game Pass, you didn't get It Takes Two.
Oh yeah, not all games are part of it, but there's still like, I don't know, 70, 80 games.
Yeah, I mean, any of your older games are. I just didn't know Knockout City was one of them. It's kind of because they have their like EA Play, and they have their like EA Play Plus or whatever the fuck they call it. And it's because I went to play It Takes Two, and I was like, all right, well, nope, you got to buy it. Okay, at least with that game, you can buy it and play with somebody. They don't have to buy it. Only one of you has to. So, I mean, I'm sure that was developers pushed probably hard for that, but still,
yeah, probably.
At least they allowed that. I gotta give that to them.
I do think it would be a pretty shitty thing to do to have both players like buy it, because
oh yeah, nobody would buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, tons of people would buy like their own copy, and then would you want to play with me? No, I don't care. You know,
It's $40.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah. There was that other game. I can't even think of it now. Where you play as like two guys that are in jail together.
Yeah. A Way Out.
and
a way out.
A Way Out. Yes. Yes. I even streamed that within the last year. I couldn't remember it, but that was like that too. You only had to have one copy. And it's a decent game.
Yeah, I mean the devs. I mean clearly the devs. You know they create these games that are meant as co-op. You can't play them really alone. But I think they've negotiated with EA probably a long time ago that if we're gonna make these games, then you have to like purchase one copy for two people.
I think it's on EA Access too, because it was
EA.
EA.
You unlocked a memory. EA Access. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
That was a thing, right? Oh my god.
Origin Access. All right.
Wow.
I think they're phasing out Origin now, right?
Yeah. They are, but some games like I don't even want to think about how much money I've spent buying copies of Command and Conquer, but it's a lot. I've bought that game so many times. But I think so I know some of the older games like that is not on EA Play, so you have to launch Origin if you want to play them. Of course, there's other ways to play those games nowadays, but or like they Battlefield 1942, they released a free version of it on Origin. I don't think it's on EA Play. I think you have to. It might be on there, but I think when you launch it, it actually launches Origin. Like their launcher launches another launcher. I'm pretty sure EA, the EA desktop launcher will launch the Origin launcher so that you can then launch the game. I think that's how it worked. They might have fixed it now, but I know when the EA desktop, first came out, that's how it worked. It's just ridiculous.
The amount of services I have to like juggle through. Like, did y'all hear Netflix is gonna start doing video game services too? Like, back to
they used to. You used to be able to get video games like physical discs through Netflix. They had like an add-on subscription where you could, if you did like the physical copies, you could get games. But I mean, obviously that was 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, this was way back before Netflix started doing the streaming thing.
You can still rent DVDs. Can you still rent like actual video games from them, Rosa? I'd be kind of curious.
I don't imagine, but like,
she said you can still get DVDs from them.
Yeah. Oh, see. I mean, the one person that does it a year. But yeah, it says Bloomberg says Netflix plans to offer video games and push beyond films and TV, where they hired former Electronic Arts Inc. and Facebook Inc. executive to lead the effort. Mike Verdu, that's it.
So they're not gonna make video games; they're just gonna like sell video games.
Yeah, I think kind of like Game Pass deal. It's like,
yeah,
kind of buy the rights to we will now have a Netflix launcher. If there's a game that's on there that's good enough, and then
fuck that.
Or if you have Game Pass and then it comes with Netflix and you open Game Pass and it opens Netflix, but Netflix has an EA game, so then you launch Netflix and then it goes into EA, open the EA thing.
Exactly.
It then happens to be Command and Conquer, so that didn't open.
It has to get yet another one. Oh yeah, it's
So I thought you meant like they're gonna develop video games, and I started thinking about Amazon and Amazon has trillions of dollars, and even with trillions of dollars, they shat out shit games thus far, and I still don't understand why they try to push so hard into the video game market.
I mean, the video game market is ginormous, so that's why
they want a piece of everything. Yeah, they want it. If it can make money, they want in.
But if Papa Bezos wants to, have video games,
he's not in charge anymore.
He's
off flying to outer space now.
It's still Papa Bezos, though. I mean, you don't leave the company, right?
Well, he's still on the board, yeah, and he's still he just gave up CEO of Amazon. He's still CEO of all those other New York Times and crap.
I think Bezos really just wants to chill, kinda.
In
But
outer space.
in outer space. But like my point is rather like Amazon kind of like opened my eyes to this kind of thinking that even with all the money in the world, they still could not hire competent developers and leaders to make a video game. Like they have failed, I think, 3 video games now. It's 3 out of 3. It's crazy how they cannot like make something even like smaller scale. Like if you have trouble making this next big whatever fucking team shooter, start small. Like do a double A game or whatever. Just get your foot in the hole and start small and build up or whatever.
Their problem is they're trying to make AAA games and they are using not what's the word I'm looking for? Like freelancers. They're using freelancers for a lot of stuff. They don't have a video game dev group. They have a management team that hires freelancers to do parts of the work and then try to put that together. And it's just they didn't build a studio. They didn't build a full game studio that hires game dev. I mean, they outsource a vast majority of it. And I've actually talked to some of the guys that worked on it, and it's a mess. It's absolutely that's why that's their problem. That is why they cannot get anything done. Is because they hire freelancers for so much work. It's all just a jumble, a mess that they try to throw together because they're trying to do it for cheap. And
Yeah, that'd be like trying to put together, 100,000 piece puzzle, with people that it's kind of like hard to communicate, if you hire one guy that's way over here and then another guy.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense. They just if you're gonna do it, if they want to succeed, they have to build a video game studio. But they don't want to do that, and I don't think they're going to. And I think I think Amazon might lead it down that road of Google of we're just going to try a billion different things and scrap, 999 million of them every year. That's kind of been the Google model forever. I expect it to continue, and I think they're headed that way. But I don't know. We'll see. I could be wrong. I usually am.
I think they should stick to what they know.
Yeah. Some of their TV shows though. I mean, The Boys was great.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking forward to. They're making that Wheel of Time show. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's gonna be their own stab at like Game of Thrones, I guess, at this point. I mean, I know Wheel of Time and Game of Thrones are 2 separate like entities, and written by different dudes or whatever, but Wheel of Time is still like high fantasy. I have not read any of the books because there's like a bajillion of them. But fuck it, if Wheel of Time is like my next fantasy show, then so be it.
The Jack Ryan was that Amazon? That was Amazon, wasn't it?
I mean, it is on Prime. Yeah, it is. It's on Prime. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was an Amazon show. It's really good too. But I mean, I was a big Tom Clancy fan when I was younger. I used to read a lot of I read a lot of Jack Ryan books and stuff. But that was just another show I was thinking of. That's the only 2 shows that I can think of. The Amazon's. They probably have other shows that have.
Yeah, I watched. I watched Panic, and it was garbage. So that's the other side of the coin. It was like it's like a teen kind of like Hunger Game. Kids graduate and then they play this game for $50,000 and they do challenges. It was terrible. It's funny to make fun of though, with people. So probably made a lot of money too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
In other news, Tencent, the company that every Westerner fears at this point, they've deployed a new kind of facial recognition software to their games in the China land. So when you play games on your phone, you need to scan your face, and if you're minor, then you can't play at night. It is to curb.
Bedtime.
It's literally to
Bedtime.
curb like it's to curb like video game addiction in China, which is apparently like a real problem.
Is it though? Not the video game addiction. Is it to curb video game addiction, or is that what they say? That's what they're trying to use it for.
So
Or
yeah,
are they really just?
so I think I know where you're going. So introduce it early to the minors, and when they grow up to become adults, then they are already accustomed to it. And then they will just deploy that same facial recognition everywhere.
Which they already have, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean they have. Indoctrinate young, so when you really oppress them at a later stage, it'll go way smoother.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the motto of a lot of countries.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I'm not kidding, and I know no one knows. No, everyone understands that I'm not kidding. Like, I understand, like, because this has been met with like widespread criticism in China and elsewhere because it's highly oppressive. Like, they could sugarcoat it in any fucking flavor that this is just to help the kids or whatever. But it will not stop at video games.
No, and to answer Rosalina's question, she said, hold up a picture of a printed out photo. That would work now until now. The Pixel 6, Google's Pixel 6 removed it, but Pixel 5 actually had sonar, and I don't know why they, it was supposed to be for hand gestures, so you could like hold your phone and do different do different things. But I would not be against them utilizing technology like that, because in China, your cell phone is you. Like you have a cell phone. That is your identity. You have all your personal information is on it. It's like a wallet. You cannot leave your house without a cell phone. Your ID, you want to buy anything, you want to get a bus ticket, because most people don't have cars anyways. You pretty much have to have your cell phone. And I could totally see them adding sonar to that, using that technology for that exact reason, just to ensure that what they're scanning is a 3D. The Sully chips. Yep.
The phones are also like registered to the person, and it comes with like pre-installed apps that are just like government approved apps. So on social media, everyone is using their own real name, for instance. Like you can't be anonymous.
Nope.
And it is all to oppress the people. Everything that they do is to oppress the people.
100%.
It is nuts, though.
Yeah. It's sad because something like that is such it is a neat idea, and like if you think about the good side of it, I mean that it could totally be useful, because sort of holding up pictures and stuff like that. I mean, the video game addiction is real. I'm sure it is a real problem in China. I was reading articles about that screen time in kids in America, and becoming a real problem about the lack of social skills and development that people have had because they have so much screen time. But any technology is going to be used for good and evil. I mean, it's just the nature of technology. It will always be used for good and evil. And there's no way around it, I don't think. At least I don't see a way around it.
How would you feel, Trev, if every time you unlock your phone, you need to scan your face, and then the phone either gives you access or not?
Yeah, because it totally doesn't already do that.
But what if the phone like dictates if you can use it? Like, imagine if it's like 3
It
a.m.
just starts yelling at me.
Because that's what
it actually needs to. And then maybe I wouldn't wake up at 3 p.m.
You can set that, right? Can't you set that in the phone to like
yell at me? I wish.
No, to like say like my screen goes black and white at a certain time, and it just is like that. I mean, I can override it, but I have it set to where I can't override it because it's much less enjoyable to use my phone when it's black and white. So I go to bed and I want to look at it, and I'm like, screw it. It goes to a real dim black and white setting. And then if I get notifications and things like that, then they don't blow up your phone and wake you up and stuff
You're
like that.
gatekeeping your phone from yourself.
Dude. Well, we just talked about it.
It's better than the government doing it for you. So
right?
I mean, obviously, yeah. Like this is one of those few kind of Republican side things that I'm actually agreeing with. Like, I would not like the government to meddle in my own affairs too much.
No, especially something like that.
All right, boys.
Yeah, if I want to use my fucking phone, then I will use my fucking phone. Even though this is not my phone, this is my company's phone, and you know. It's the reason I don't surf porn with this thing, because my company knows exactly what I do with it. And it would be a pretty awkward conversation to have with my employer. Because we've had, like, issues, like, not porn specifically, but people have been buying, like, bus tickets with like, because we can buy bus tickets with just text messages. It costs a shitload. And, like, because we don't pay our phone bills, but we pay a monthly fee for using the phone. It's about $10. So we've had people who have like racked up hundreds of euros of like a bill, and it's just like they go out drinking and then they take like a bus home and they just buy the text message thing. And like I have a bus app on my phone that charges from my credit card. And I've sat in a meeting when we got new phones, and one dude asked like, what happens if I just wanna, because we got restricted how we can use our phones a lot more. And he was asking, like, what do I do if I want to just get home and I can't buy it with, like, a text message? And I'm, like, looking at him. And I'm like, why don't you fucking, download the fucking bus app like everyone else does? And then he's like, I know he was playing stupid because he just doesn't want to pay himself.
Why wouldn't they? Can the company not just take that out of your paycheck? Like, you owe us this money?
Yeah, I mean, he got
like
if
you were to do it.
Yeah, he got a couple warnings. I know one dude got a couple warnings, and then they just outright said that we're not going to pay this anymore. But he racked like hundreds of euros of.
Our school when I was in high school had that problem because like our school was like introducing, because computers were coming more widespread. I was in the big transition period of like, all right, here's, your textbook, to where like people had the option to like bring your computer in and then use the ebook for it. Our school was introducing Wi-Fi, just like that, everyone could use the school's Wi-Fi, which they weren't built for it, because like immediately when they did it, now it was like every week, it was like, oh, the Wi-Fi's down. So it's like almost every week. Yeah. And then on top of that, because it's the school Wi-Fi and you can check who's using it, like every kid was watching porn in the bathroom with the school Wi-Fi. And so and then they just, I went to a private Christian school. They didn't want to say that. So, you just like over the intercom, it's like, hey, we're just gonna not let y'all use this anymore and not tell you why. It started where you had to type in your name and then password, and then and kids didn't care. They would just, here's my name. All right, now I'm going to watch porn in the bathroom. But it was, I don't know why it got on. Tom's story reminded me of this. It's just funny. Same with, I used to go on the computer in the library and then go to like Flash game websites, where they block the Flash game websites, but they would blacklist them with the URL, and most Flash game websites had like HTTP at the time. So I was like, what if I do HTTPS? And it got past the black wall, like, or the blacklist. So like our school still sucks with that, but
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, it's not that hard to have filters for what can't. I mean, even 10 years ago, that kind of stuff.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Even when I was in high school, we had, there's the sites that you could go to were pretty limited.
Oh yeah.
I just
same.
20 years ago.
And then all the kids figured out what a VPN was, and that was hell for like a month. It was great. And then they just like, all right, you can't no more. It's over. They tried.
Portable apps. Yeah, ours were all just blocked in the browser. So we could just put, this day myself a little bit. So this is going back, yeah, about 20 years almost. But we had when Chrome was first Chrome, it was something else. I don't actually remember what it was called now. Chromium, which I think still exists, but you didn't have to install it. You could just run Chromium. So you could just put it on a flash drive, plug the flash drive in, launch Chromium, and literally they were using Internet Explorer's um, system platform. Like they have the block sites in the inside of that. But if you were using a different browser, then nothing was blocked. So you could just pull up Chromium and go wherever you wanted. It didn't matter. And they didn't really have a good way to combat that. I'm sure they came up with something eventually, but
Oh, that
they
was
didn't
that
while
was
I was
so
still in
much
school.
that was so much fun to do. Like I remember because like my friend group was like the nerdy tech group. So we would figure out stuff like getting universal remotes on our phone and like turn it on TV and putting stuff on the TV without them like understanding what's happening. Uh Not gonna get to do that ever again, but
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
now you
Google
can just like watch all the bad stuff on your own computer at home.
Yeah, it's not as fun.
No, it's true. I have played a game. I'm a show said game. Right here. I have played this game. Here and do that, and I played Phantom Abyss,
Oh yeah, I've seen you been doing that.
which is published by Devolver Digital and created by someone. I don't remember the dev team. It's fun. It is basically a temple run game, dungeon runner, I guess, where you start from the beginning every time you get a whip. Whips have different like attributes to them, and then you try to get to the end. It scratches very much my itch of doing these one run things. I'm gonna try to. Hopefully hopefully everything's like set up correctly.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
my
show a
favorite
little
part of
bit
that game, because I mean, I guess we should explain it while you're going up, is where you can only every temple you do is like pre-generated, and only one person in the world can beat it, and then everyone that's tried it before you is like a ghost, and so you can watch them and follow them and see how they died and whatnot. Uh, my favorite part is to just latch onto one dude that has a funny name, like, oh, there's Nacho Joe over there, and then let me go follow Nacho Joe to the end of the earth. What? And then make fun of him when he dies.
Yeah, so
What were you
start from the little beginning here. So no cams on this side, sorry, they're all fucked up, so I disabled them. I didn't remember to set them correctly because we're 3 people, whatever. So yeah, you start the run and you pick a whip. You'll see like what you can do with the whip here in a little bit, but you run through the temple. It has a bunch of hazards and stuff. It also has a guardian. There's 3 different guardians right now. One that follows, one that spits poison bombs, and one that shoots a laser. And objective is to just, not take damage and get through these obstacles and get money. And at the end of the floor, you get to buy blessings that are then, skills, I guess, or abilities like double jump or hover or quick whip and long whip and stuff like that. I've actually enjoyed this game a lot. I have put a lot of hours into this. 60 milligrams of Viagra that was just on screen is actually a streamer. He's called Jericho. He's a kind of a large streamer on Twitch. I randomly found his body.
Oh, yeah. Did you do better than him?
So I got pretty far in this run, actually. I almost beat it, but I did die.
You got farther than he did, though, so you're a better streamer.
Oh, definitely,
Better
yeah.
person.
And like Trev was saying, so only one person can beat any particular dungeon. It's built in a way where there's 3 different exits. I call them green path, blue path, and red path. And the green is shortest, and then blue is the second, and the longest is the red one. So if you go to the green path and you finish on green, that means that no one else can run that those green floors, those 4 green floors. But if you go to the blue, or if someone else plays it, they can never play the green path, but they can hop onto a blue path and encounter players that they have not encountered yet on their own green path. So the game stitches kind of 3 separate routes into one route. Because I've noticed that when I start on green, there's no one, and then when I reach blue path, there's a dude there that I've never seen before. So he obviously did some other green path compared to me. But yeah, this game gets hectic and difficult, and it is not ready yet. It is in early access, and they have promised a final 4th area. It has only 3 areas right now. I shouldn't say only, it has 3 areas. Well, 3 is kind of much. But this is how the game looks. Fast paced. I love it. And
Pretty cool.
And dangerous. Love it.
I mean, yeah, it looks good. Indiana Jones on crack. I've been wanting to pick it up. I just haven't had.
So you said once somebody completes a path, nobody else can complete it. So what happens when all the paths have been completed?
Well, so they're all randomly generated, right?
Yeah,
so
they're
okay.
Infinite number.
So then there's I gotcha.
Yeah, they have like
just the new ones generated.
Oh yeah. Every run has a seed, and so basically how I think this works is they have a set number of rooms, right? They built different rooms for the game, and then when it generates the level, it just kind of randomly generates. It picks those rooms and puts them in random order, so that way they can achieve that infinite randomness, kind of like how Binding of Isaac does it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've run this game now for maybe 50 hours, and I've seen every room there is to see. So, it gets samey because of that. And, they've countered the problem or averted, I guess, the problem. You can have a room layout that you've seen a bunch, but the traps are different. So there you already have, okay, this room is 3 rooms, based on what traps they're in. This room that I'm in right now that's on stream, there's multiple different versions of the same room based on how many chests are in this room. And that's again it has only 1 chest, it's 1 room. If it has 2 chests, it's another room, and yada 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 yada. So the randomness is more. The randomness is more kind of. It's not as cool as it sounds, kind of deal. Because you will fairly quickly, I might add, recognize all the rooms that are in the game, and you can achieve this kind of gameplay where you just go fast and you know where to go.
I mean, hopefully, if the game keeps getting supported, then they would gradually add more and more and more and more and more, because a game like this would benefit from, because it's a 1-run infinite kind of thing. It's I wouldn't if I guess the goal would be all right, if I could always run something where I see something different would be pretty neat, but also impossible to do well. If it was the assets were random, something might clip into a wall or something, or.
Yeah, I do hope they add more rooms and the final area, of course. And more whips. More whips and more relics to get. Everything more. More.
The whips, do they just look different?
They look different and they have different attributes. So the one that I'm using right now has super speed plus 2 heart containers. And there's other ones that they can have 1 heart container or immune to fall damage or any number of like different kind of attributes that they have. There's one whip with 1 heart container, one whip with 2 heart containers, and one whip with 3 heart containers. So I think there's in total like maybe 16 different whips, but a lot of them are also just kind of samey. Every whip that you also get, like when you start using a whip, it has a curse on it. And based on the color of the whip, so they're also green, blue, and red, you have to bless the whip. So if you have a red whip that you're using with a debuff, you need to win the red path, and then the whip gets blessed and the debuff gets removed. Same with like if it's a green whip, it needs to go to the green path. A blue whip goes blue path, and so forth. But once they're blessed forever. So you need to bless the whips only once, and then they're just OP for the rest of the timeline of the game forever. Like you never have to do anything else with them. I hope they innovate something with that format. Kind of like either change the whips or add more buffs or have more debuffs on them or whatever.
Like select a buff and a debuff and then if you complete it, get your debuff removed again.
Yeah, because the debuffs right now, they feel kind of pointless. Because winning a run is not that difficult. Like, okay, winning a red path is by far the most difficult one, and it's a challenge, of course, but you don't have to play a whole lot of hours to beat like green consistently. And without breaking a sweat. So you bless your whips and that's it, then they're just blessed forever. It feels kind of pointless to bless the whips in a sense.
And then is there like, because I've been wondering this still, is there like an end goal, like you beat the game, congratulations kind of deal? Or is it, since it's early access, they're like, we'll get to that?
I don't think there's an end right now. It ends after the third path, that red path. And at the end of every run you get a relic. And there's like when you in the spawn area, the hub area, I guess, there's pedestals for different relics. And once you complete all the relics, it's kind of it. There's really no other objective to it.
Because that's the one thing that would probably hook me. Because otherwise it'd be like, all right, I'm playing, like, yeah, it's fun, but like it's like what are we doing? Like, what's the purpose here?
So yeah, we also talked on my stream about like that the ghosts are region locked. I don't believe that anymore. I fully believe that the game is not region locked because I have found one American corpse, which is Jericho, the streamer. He lives in California, and I found his corpse on one of my runs, and I think that kind of debunks that the game is region locked. Because there's no way to switch regions in the game, and everyone just plays on whatever region they're in. The game is fun though, but at okay, at 32 hours, which is what I played, not 50. At 32 hours, it kind of gets boring.
You said it's early access. How much was it? I was trying to figure out the price per hour.
Regular price, I guess, would be around $20. I don't know what I paid, but right now the price is 23 euros. So I'm guessing either $23 or $20.
Oh, you got, even if you make it 20 hours, that's $1 an hour. That's not too bad.
Yeah, no, I don't regret the purchase at all. I think it's a fun game. And honestly, it's one of those games, at this point, it's getting to that point where it's just fun to do one run.
Yeah.
Just boot the game up real quick and do one run. It takes about, 20 minutes.
Cool. Can't wait until the Battle Royale mode gets added. and then I think that would make the game. Like genuinely how much I hate battle royales. I think that would be pretty cool. Whereas like get to the end of the thing as fast as you can. You're playing against 10 other dudes. It doesn't have to be 9 million.
So really, what you're saying is a race, not necessarily battle royale.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, race mode would be cool. They would have to make it like in a. They would have to make it that everyone is using the same whip.
Yeah.
And yeah, because that could be kind of tactical. Like, how much money do you go for, and yeah,
because if you go for chest, or do you just straight shot it and make it harder, but you're shortcutting it, I guess.
Yeah, because
you have go ahead.
No, not all blessings are worth equal, and every blessing gets incrementally more expensive. So getting like double jump early would absolutely help, or getting wings before the blue path would be really good, because then there's a lot of rooms in the blue path where you just jump down and you hover and then you go to the end of the room and avoid all traps.
You'd have to make the blessings, I guess, same across the board too. Otherwise, it would be like, oh, the guy got double jump, I am screwed.
Yeah, the blessings need to be like same for everyone. I think where the race could get interesting is like, how much money do you go for?
But as a competitive man, if they had a race mode, I would buy that game instantly. Frame 1.
Yeah, if they had, I mean, yeah, you could have a race mode and have it set up where you're still maybe replace somewhere. Oh, wait a moment. Because the money, it doesn't. If you were in a race mode, would you even have money in it? Like, there wouldn't be a point, or would you just pretty much have it where you want people to get to the end as fast as they can, not even have multiple exits, just have the one exit, and then if you die, you start over or whatever. You could start the same run, or have it where when you die, that's it. You're out of that race, and whoever makes it the farthest either completes it, or whoever, if nobody completes it, whoever made it the farthest before they died would be technically the winner type thing.
I think money would make it interesting, because it adds that level of like tactics.
I didn't know if there's that could you. What would the money like? What would be the advantage of going after the money in the race?
By blessings.
You use that.
Yeah, the double jump.
Oh, you have that.
Like
you need the money to buy the blessings in that run. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I got you. I thought I was thinking, I was thinking the money was used outside of the run, not during the run. So yeah, that makes complete sense then, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as the game is just now, you get the chests to buy blessings at the checkpoints. That's just how it goes, and like, because you're not racing obviously against anyone, you could go for all the chests. Now, when the Guardian spawns and it starts harassing, then it just becomes like, how many chests do you go for? But I see a lot of players just kind of, when I see ghosts, I see a lot of ghosts just like blast through and not go for any chests. And fine. I would like to have my double jump, please.
But initially, I thought that's what the game was a racing game, and then it was like, I don't know. I just at heart want to compete.
I kind of thought that it was a massive multiplayer game where all the ghosts were like in the game with you at the same time, but no, the ghosts are they're dead people. They have not completed that temple. So it's strictly, well, it's not really strictly a single player game, but I would call it a single player game. If you die, you can give the seed code to your buddy to try to do the same temple. If someone completes the temple, you get your whip back that you lost, because when you die, you lose your whip. You can buy the whip back with the keys that you get in the game. I'm at that point where I have so much of the keys that it doesn't matter. I can rebuy every whip like multiple times and still have money left. Doesn't like matter. But yeah, like giving the code to a buddy to run a temple, I mean, cool idea, but I feel like I don't think the game really lives on that, A race mode would totally fucking I'm on. I'm fucking do it. I want to raise
Now we just
people.
mass email until they do it.
They would
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
have
early
to like
access.
rewrite their network code though, kind of
Yeah.
heavily. That's when they need to region lock it. Can't really be playing against people with massive lag. All right.
Trying to think of like
Cool.
anything big that's happened, but I don't know.
There's really. I made a bet with a guy at GameStop that Elden Ring wouldn't actually release on January 12th or 21st.
We were
He
talking
seemed
about
pretty
that.
confident. I told him if I figured you guys talked about it during the E3, but I just figured I would mention. I bet him he would have to give me 10% off, something in the store. And if it does release, then uh, I would take him to lunch. I didn't even know the guy. I was literally just I went to the mall over the weekend for the first time I've been to the mall since I moved to Dallas a couple years ago. And so I don't even know this dude's name. He probably won't even remember, but I'll take him to lunch if it does. I just don't see it happening. I will be shocked.
I'm on the train that it will come out when they said it come out, solely because all the three other dudes, Tom, Joe, and North were on the other side. So I was like, well, you can't. If tug of war's here, I'll I'll man the other side.
Yeah, I think it's fairly reasonable. I feel like to expect that the game will be delayed, because there's so few games that actually come out on the first date that they announce. That's just the reality of video games these days. My only kind of where I'm kind of like I might be wrong is because we're talking about a Japanese company. If it were a Western company, then I would bet money on it being delayed. But it being a Japanese company, I think there is a chance that it might come out January 21st.
I mean,
But they have also been hit by COVID, and they have also, delayed game from Japan during COVID. So I don't know. It really just feels these days that the first date that anyone announces, that's just a placeholder. Like, who cares? It's just to get the pre-orders rolling.
Yeah, exactly. Anymore, it seems like they set those dates exactly to get the pre-orders in, so people have. But even that is kind of silly anymore, with everything being pretty much digital. But I don't know. I just that's the only news I could think of to bring up.
Final Fantasy 14 has been having some great times.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The game
I haven't played it, but I've heard about it.
The game has never achieved this level of success before in terms of players, which is incredible for a game that is this old at this point. Not a whole lot of games like go upwards in player count as the years go by. But Final Fantasy 14 they've been having such a big and good old time that it may be corrected now, but there was a certain, at least yesterday, you could not buy a digital version of Final Fantasy 14 if you lived in North America.
It's sold out. You have to go on a waiting list.
Yeah, they sold out of digital copies. I have never heard that term before, but I've seen it with my own eyes. You can actually sell out digital copies.
But
I've heard of like Humble and places like that where they give away copies running out.
That's different because they have a set amount.
But a publisher, right? Yeah, but a publisher, like, what does that mean? How do you? Was it just to control the server? So
the servers were full.
Yeah.
That's
nobody
hilarious.
could play.
Wow, I totally missed that.
Yeah, they
why?
So I think a big contributor is that Asmongold on Twitch, who is by far the biggest World of Warcraft streamer, by far on this site, he switched to FF14. And
See that.
I legitimately believe that he made people buy that game in droves. He showed his stats from the first day when he played. The dude had millions of unique people watching during the entire stream. It's
Which is
actually
insane.
nuts. It's nuts.
And, like,
So listen,
apparently, just World of Warcraft is because I was informed by this by one of my friends, is that World of Warcraft hasn't been doing too hot recently, and then plus the biggest World of Warcraft guy being like, Final Fantasy 14 so sick, and then you have 2 million viewers on Twitch, unique viewers that see that, plus already people not wanting to play World of Warcraft anymore, but that's like such a niche game, like you need, I guess, something to like Final Fantasy 14. Everyone's just like, all right, it's time, I'll switch.
yeah, they said, yeah, it had its highest ever all-time concurrent player count on Steam when he started streaming.
I'll show you guys. I'll show you like Asmongold's stats. This is from
nuts.
July 3rd when he streamed the game for the first time.
Oh my god.
2.2
Holy shit.
like unique viewers 1 million and total viewers, unique like individual people 2.3 million. And he averaged almost 150,000 people watching. Like this is the power of a massive streamer. Where one guy literally can push copies.
That is insane.
Yeah, dude.
But I guess it was big for him too, right? I mean, it looks like he had a peak in his own views.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if he broke like records for himself, but people were interested for sure. Because he's the World of Warcraft dude. That's what he's known for.
I know. Yep.
And the fucking
I don't know much about WoW, but I know who he is.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that he actually like enjoyed his time with Final Fantasy 14. Like he's been streaming it like multiple days. And he's kind of also known for being like the dude who shits on WoW. But I don't know a ton of the game, but I guess the community kind of agrees with him. And I know WoW is kind of in shambles. Like they released that new trailer and like it got completely panned by fans for making like absolutely no sense. I don't know what's going on with it, but that's just what people tell me. So I was talking with Nostro in chat about like 14 and WoW. I really feel that this might be a time where World of Warcraft kind of dies. Not completely or anything. It won't go away or whatever. Because it will have its loyal fans until the game is officially like just put to rest. But 14 being on this massive upwards trajectory, couple of months before the next big patch comes out, oh my god, they're gonna have a fucking good time.
Yeah. I guess it wasn't the first time that they actually had to do that. They did actually have to. They have done that before, but it was when the last expansion came out. It said, so for them to do it again it's kind of nuts.
It's also crazy. Like the people who play 14, they were like noting that they're having this upsurge of players right now when there's absolutely nothing to do in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
The biggest boycott of WoW, I guess.
I mean, I guess like if there's completely new players, then they have like years of content to go through. But
yeah,
for like the old dudes that just regularly play the game, they did the content like a year ago.
I really I was told to try, there's a trial, right? And I've been told to get it, and I looked yesterday, when it was sold out, and it's like part of it I refrained from touching Final Fantasy 14 because I know I'll get sucked into it, and I don't want to be like, all right, 200 hours of my life here in 3 months, here you go. And then I was about to yesterday, and then freaking Final Fantasy 14 devs themselves said, Trevor, it's not time. It was sold out. Yeah.
Apparently
So
cock
maybe I should just never touch it because the stars aligned for me to not get it yesterday. But
all in all, props to 14. Honestly, like
Yeah.
everything like I've heard, I don't play the game myself, but like the community fucking loves the game, and I will forever tip my hat to the dev team. They launched Final Fantasy 14 in a completely catastrophic fucking state, and it bombed. The game was dead. And the lead developers were on stage like bowing and apologizing to the community, and they rebuilt that motherfucker, and it is now one of Square's flagship products. Like that's sort of like that's sort of like 180 turn story. We don't hear too much from the games industry, honestly.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean the closest I can think of is No Man's Sky.
yeah.
And it's they turned the opinion of them around, but I don't know. I've tried playing it so many times. I just can't. I don't see how people get into it and the amount of time that they have. I've tried it and tried it and tried it, and it just seems like a grind, like a super grindy game with very little payoff. But that's obviously an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of No Man's Sky. I think it's fine as it is. I understand like why people love it, and honestly, like No Man's Sky was also it bombed because the devs lied.
Yes, flat out lied.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when they started delivering those promises, the game became great, and they've released like big patches for the game. Community loves it again. So good on like Hello Games for doing that. But I feel the bigger achievement by a mile is the Final Fantasy 14 dev team. They rebuilt that game with a fucking shoestring budget and a small dev team, and it has become like the fucking flagship product of Square.
And now they think they can do that with the Avengers game, and I'm tired of seeing it.
Oh, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad. I do think No Man's Sky, though, there are still a lot of things that they said would be in the game that aren't in, and obviously it's a different game now, so I don't even know if you can compare those. But I feel I didn't buy it, but I felt so burnt. I don't know if I've ever felt more burnt by a game. Because I guess in a lot of games you hear the devs making these promises and you're like, oh, all right, we'll see. But I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was if Sean just had a way about him that made me believe him and trust him and say, wow, that's amazing. That's cool. You've done this. There were a few little things were like, all right, well, maybe that seems a little fishy, but we'll see. But for the most part, I really felt like it was going to deliver on so many things that it absolutely did not even come close. And I don't know. I can't think of another game that I felt more burnt on, at least based off of strictly promises and delivery. Yeah, absolutely. I do, bro. I want to fly in space and have fun doing it. There's so many crap, boring space games that I've tried that can be fun. You just get old so quick. Maybe boring. Maybe space is as exciting as I thought.
Because it's fucking nothing. It's black. It's the void. There's nothing there. Yeah.
Wait until Starfield comes out, and then Starfield will save us all.
Right.
I listened to this streamer.
I want it to be good so bad.
There's this UK streamer I watch who primarily plays Darkest Dungeon. He was talking about like Bethesda games, and I tipped my hat to myself. I did not like engage in chat because it would have been a complete shit show. But I was just like playing Isaac and laughing at him. Because the argument basically started with Skyrim is shit. And at that point I'm like, what? Because I don't think Skyrim is a shit game. It's a meme now, yes, but it wasn't a shit game when it came out. And his argument for it being a shit game is that a lot of people, including me, the main quest is not why Skyrim is good. It's all the other stuff that you do in Skyrim that makes Skyrim good. But his argument is that if you're not even playing the main quest, then why would you play the game at all? If the main quest is that bad, then the whole game is fucking shit. And okay, you can have your opinion, but I think it's an extremely stupid opinion. Because, like, there's a bunch of other... Because The Witcher 3 is the same way. I don't do the fucking main quest in Witcher 3. It's the last thing I do. Because there's a bajillion fucking question marks on the map that I want to check out before I do the main quest, because otherwise I miss them. So, I don't understand why the argument, if the main quest is bad, then the game is bad. I don't understand that argument, because you're talking about such a small chunk of the game. And yeah, if you want the main quest to be like the big grandiose thing that you do in a video game, then maybe don't play a fucking RPG open world game that has tons of side content.
That's interesting.
Yeah, definitely like a build your own RPG. You could role play any person in the world, but I mean, if the main quest kind of, locks you down in that one spot, like that's the reason I played Skyrim like 3 times. Is like, oh, this time I'm gonna make a lizard man named Mr. Yellow, and he's gonna be this is backstory. It's kind of like that. That's the fun I have with that stuff. But
yeah, because like any Bethesda game that I play, and this started way back when I played Oblivion, which was the first Bethesda game that I played. When the main quest kind of when the game sets you loose, do you really believe that I'll go to the fucking main quest marker? Like, are you like, do you have like lesser brain function? Like, what? Why would I not go explore the world? Yeah, I did the same in Fallout, I did the same in New Vegas, I did the same in Skyrim, I did the same in Fallout 4, and by God, I'm gonna do the same in fucking Starfield 2.
Well, I did it in freaking Ocarina of Time. Like, you get on that field, I didn't go straight to the castle. I want to see what the fuck's going on in this big ass field. Like, I've been. It's not an open world game, but you leave Kogoro Village for the first time, and you're like, what the fuck? I want to look around. Like, there's the castle. There's where I'm supposed to be going, but what's this little horsey thing over here? Like, and that's a pretty linear game, but still. You can't not check every shit out. It's I feel like it's human nature, not even in just video games, to be curious. Sounds like a guy that's just not very curious about shit.
Yeah,
sounds like a guy that he needs he needs a leash on his hand when he plays a video game.
But that's one of the issues I had with like Cyberpunk. Is I was like the main quest is bad to Cyberpunk, I don't think, but and then I was like, all right, it's time, I'm gonna explore, and then you explore, and then Cyberpunk exploring is not fun at all. Like, that was the biggest thing. I was like, man, I miss like Skyrim or like The Witcher, where you can just go and then you can kind of like find something to do. And then Cyberpunk, the only time you find something to do is when somebody calls you on your phone. And then it's like, I don't want to. I'd rather like find a quest. It makes, I don't know.
There's some quests in Cyberpunk that you can find, like just randomly, and those quests felt way more interesting immediately, because at least I get that feeling like I found this. Like, I could have missed this completely. I totally need to check it out right now. But like, you are right that like, exploration in Cyberpunk is not good, because the city looks beautiful, right? It's sprawling, it's huge, it's like it has tons of like stuff to look at, but that's kind of it. It's too much. Like, and I can't, like, I played that game for what, like almost 50-60 hours. I still cannot drive around the city without a map marker. I have no idea where anything is. Because everything looks the same. Like, if you drop me on the map somewhere, I could not for the life of me find my way to my like home in the city if I don't put a map marker down. There's no way.
Yeah, I would completely agree. That was what lost me for that game. Is it just felt like everywhere I went, had already been there. Nothing felt new. Like once you get even 20 hours into the game, you're like the game just didn't feel. And the story's okay. Like I didn't hate it. Yeah, I mean, I I don't know. I don't mind the driving. I did more on foot. I mean, actually no, I'm sorry. Driving is horrible in the game. You're right. But I did most just explorations on foot. But it never nothing felt new. Like for so much of the game, I just wanted to feel new. I just wanted something to feel new, and it just didn't. And then
You
they
know,
were like, "Oh, this game might corrupt its save if you don't do blah 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 right." And I was like, "All right." And I've never played it since.
I remember being like annoyed at the game too when you're driving around the city. It always announces on screen to you when you enter a new area or like a new section of the city.
Mhm.
I got annoyed at that because I don't want to look at it. But now I understand. They do that to try to try to condition the player to look what's on screen at the time when you're entering Kabuki or whatever, to try to recognize how Kabuki looks like. But fucking Kabuki looks like every other fucking section of the city, so it doesn't really matter. I still need my map marker because I can't find shit in that game.
Yep. Yep. It was yeah. And yeah, so I didn't mean to disagree with you, Rosa. Driving is terrible on it, but I just couldn't do it. Most of the time I just freaking walk everywhere because I couldn't stand it.
But I still probably rate Cyberpunk higher than what the general populace would do. I had fun with the game, but it definitely has flaws.
But yeah, there's just that was probably one of my biggest, pet peeves with that is like exploration is just so much fun for me. Like either I can go to question mark on map marker or I could see a giant like 200 yards away and I'm like, yeah, I want to go touch him. Like
Landmarks is something that I never really considered, but having like actual landmarks on a map is probably like a good thing, or so that at least that you can see. So if you see like a whatever in the distance, and if you can walk to it, fucking great. But if you play Cyberpunk, you see about 20 feet in front of you. It's a building.
Everywhere.
yeah.
And the shopping centers look the same. Like they might have minor differences, but they just feel the same. They don't feel like you're in a different place. They feel like you're in an extension of a place you've already been.
Yeah, because like the buildings are like so tall and like the place looks massive. And like in then actuality, it's like you can only mess around on like the first 2 stories, and then this upper 80% feels like kind of like why is this here? Like the only times you can go up there is like if you're going on a highway to go over some city roads.
I feel like in that regards, Skyrim's map was really good. So when you start a game of Skyrim, all the major cities are already on your map. So you know where the big cities are. So when you're walking towards those big cities, you obviously will encounter a ton of other shit that's on the map. And I felt like that is one of those good things about Skyrim, that when you're going somewhere, I'm gonna go check out fucking whatever the towns are named, and you get sidetracked constantly. And that's why I really loved like Skyrim in the first place, because there was so much to do, so much to get me sidetracked, so much to keep me away from the main quest. I didn't want to do it. But like,
and then the side quests were like genuinely interesting too. I cannot remember a side quest. The only side quest in Cyberpunk I can remember, which was one I found like on my own, was like the taxi one. Like
with
the taxi
Delamain.
guy was that those were kind of interesting, but like other than that,
That's one of my favorite parts of the story. The game. I'm sorry, the whole game. The
Yeah.
whole Delamain story is I found it to be one of the most entertaining parts. Where you track down the taxis, the rogue taxis and shit. And that was wasn't that voiced by oh, what the heck's that guy's name?
I wouldn't know at all.
Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. I have to look it up.
Samuel Barnett.
There you go. Boom.
I have no idea who that is. No idea.
It's oh, I thought. What else did? Okay, that's actually not who I thought it was. Then Samuel Barnett. Yep, it's not who I thought it was. He's just a video game. Looks like.
But like other than that, I literally cannot remember another side mission that I did. Maybe, I mean, other than like if I heard it, I might be like, oh yeah, I did that. But in Skyrim, you know, I of course the only things I remember are like the Wabbajack mission or the mission where you drink too much and then you know wake up in a sex temple.
See what I like really appreciated with what started with Oblivion was the factions, you know, Dark Brotherhood and Mages Guild and stuff. I think they're done better in Skyrim, and I absolutely fucking love those things. I think they're cool. But yeah, we should probably wrap up.
Screw that guy. That's what we're saying.
Oh, well, it was fun, guys. Thanks for having me on again.
At the end of the day, Cyberpunk will not be on anyone's top list ever. I typed in welcome instead of thanks for watching. That's how tired I am.
Oh, at the yeah. I just now saw that.
Change it real quick. There we go. Yeah, it's good to be back. In 2 weeks, we'll probably have our regular foursome. With the regular.
Say what now?
I did it on purpose.
All right. I think it's time to end.
It's a good thing I'll be in working, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't have my schedule for the next ep. So I might get screwed. Who knows? Who knows?
Might be honestly. A threesome. Could be a one-some. I'm down.
Solo Trev Dog show?
Yeah, cam girl. Trev Dog cam girl.
You do it from a hot tub?
Yep. I will buy a bikini for that episode.
Good.
You can film it in my backyard. I'll let you. If you do it in a bikini.
That's the only
in the hot tub.
Yep.
That's the requirements. Yeah, I think Rosa should get to pick. Which color?
Oh yeah, no.
Now we gotta start a GoFundMe just to buy it.
Gosh, I could not actually imagine wearing a bikini. I don't even.
Just put it on, man.
There you go. I'll put it in. I guess.
Yeah.
Bye.
I've been streaming without a camera because it's so fucking hot.
Yeah.
I will continue to do that. Otherwise, you know, I'll try to stream here and there when I can. Probably not gonna stream in a week though now because night shifts. Who knows? I never plan on going live. I when I go live, it's like I've chosen to go live like 5 minutes before I go live. And yeah. That's about it.
Yeah.
We all stream. Nate streams sometimes.
It's been a while. I'm on the road a lot lately, so eventually I might not be, but this pandemic slowdown has thrown me out into the world pretty quick.
Oh yeah, traveling. I am a college student in summer, so I have time. I've finally started streaming again. Got my ass up. I am currently, this is in the low right now, but I'm currently starting to speed run again. So playing Octodad. I am still fourth in the world, but we're shooting for third. So
Nice.
we'll see how that goes in the next month or so.
Nice.
Ooh.
Gotta get that
Cool,
number
cool.
1 spot.
I hope so. That might take a year, but you know what? If I like it enough, maybe.
Right
Tokyo
on.
Olympics are starting
Oh yeah.
like
Oh,
in
yeah.
August. It has nothing to do with the podcast, but I just wanted to tell everyone that it's starting. I love the Olympics. It's the greatest time of when it happens, but it is a shitload of work.
You should buy that game.
No.
The $40 terrible.
No, never. And I'm sorry the E3 episode is not up on YouTube if anyone is watching on YouTube. This is mainly for the live audience right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, then just get over here, I guess. I have rectified a couple of like issues and I will start uploading more. The E3 episode, I don't know if I'll upload it because it's so irrelevant right now. I've treated the YouTube kind of more like an archive. Like, I don't treat it as a channel where people actually go to watch stuff. So it's hard for me to get motivated to even upload there if there's like no point, basically. If there's no other point than just having it as an archive. Like, we lost most of the subscribers when I created the new channel anyway, and you know, I haven't looked through the analytics or anything, but you know, when the views are 1 or 2, that they're my views. I just check that the channel, like the vid's okay. So, you know, it's a whole bunch of who cares. But yeah, I will start uploading because you know I don't want to have the eps on my PC anyway because they clog the shit. And you know, if it's an archive, then it's an archive. All right. 7 minutes over.
Not bad.
Smile and wave, boys.
I've been waiting for that.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll be here. Maybe I won't. Maybe Trevor will be here. Maybe not. Nate will not be here. Maybe Joe and North will be back. Who knows? No one knows. Maybe Joe will host if I'm not here. Who knows? It's
Maybe
all
I'll
up
be in a
the wind.
bikini.
Maybe. Yeah. We'll see you later, dudes. Bye.